What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 14 update for my real 2018 roster. Real quick, a lot of people have been asking about getting this ported over to PlayStation. My goal is to get that done after the Super Bowl. That is a pretty massive project, but I do want to get this roster up and get that rookie roster going on PlayStation as well, because there are people that follow this channel that don't have Xbox. So let's get right into it here. I want to cut this video down just a little bit. The videos have been long lately, I realize, so let's try and keep this a little shorter. Jumping right into the stars of the week, we've got a pair of Dolphins. Xavier Howard did a great job the last 2 weeks. He goes up +4, really starting to become, I'm not going to say lockdown yet, but really heading towards that way as second-year corner for the Dolphins. And then Kenyon Drake, also for the Dolphins, really emerging as a potential superstar running back. We all saw it Monday night against the Patriots, him really breaking out. And then our dud of the week has really been a guy that's been a dud all year that I haven't talked about at all, and it's Danielle Hunter. Defensive end for the Vikings. Had really high expectations for him. I thought he was going to emerge as a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and it could not be much further from that. He's really regressed from what he was last year and hasn't really developed his moves at all. He's still such a freak, and you'll notice going through his ratings on the roster, it is just mostly his awareness and play recognition that are down. He's still a freak athlete that is going to be a fun guy to develop in your franchise mode, but in real life, just not there yet. So now running through the risers here, we're going to start with Marcus Williams, starting at free safety for the Saints. He goes up +2 this week, been real good this year. A rookie second-round pick that I really liked, starting to come into his own. And then Deion Jones, just a few weeks after being lowered here, has started to settle down. Second year, had a lot of hype coming into the year, had the big game-winning interception against the Saints, but had a good all-around game as well. So he goes up +2 back to where he started the year. And then for the red-hot Chicago Bears, we got a few risers here. Mitch Trubisky going up +1, definitely had his best game of the year. Definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with a new regime. Do we get a potential Jared Goff situation next year where he gets an offensive mind to really help him grow? I think that'd be the best move they could make in Chicago. And then Kyle Fuller, who has moved up slowly throughout the year. Obviously a guy who was a potential rookie of the year a few years ago, hasn't been able to stay healthy, but has been getting healthier and healthier this year, playing very, very well. Big reason that defense has been pretty good. So Kyle Fuller goes up +3 this week. Starting to enter that range of top 32-ish corners here for Kyle Fuller. And then another young corner moving up is William Jackson, who's been a bright spot among this Bengals secondary that's really struggled this year. Jackson goes up +2 this week. We've got a veteran moving up. Robert Ayers has been very, very solid for that Tampa defense. Maybe the most solid piece of the entire defense that has really struggled this year. Ayers goes up +3 this week. Then we got to talk about the Packers, who had a big win against the Browns, but a team that has put together a couple wins and hadn't really gotten many ratings boosts from me. So Brett Hundley goes up +1. I thought he kind of showed that he's going to earn probably a trade and start possibility for a team in desperate need of a quarterback. I go back and forth on him. He's very inconsistent, but definitely has the arm and physical ability to be a starting quarterback in this league. Jamal Williams goes up +2 this week. I mean, he's starting and playing pretty well. We'll see. I still think Aaron Jones is the more talented guy, the bigger home run threat, but Jamal Williams runs very hard, has definitely earned a raise in terms of the ratings here. And then at the receiver, Devontae Adams has been critical for this team, very clutch at the end of games here. And I still think he has the quickest feet for any receiver his size. I mean, kind of reminds me of like Brandon Marshall back in his prime. Adams not quite as big, but a guy his size probably should not be able to make guys miss and release off the line of scrimmage like Adams does. He's earned a massive contract, has definitely passed Jordy Nelson here. Jordy might see a decline here in his rating. We're going to wait and see what he looks like, though, with Aaron Rodgers back this week. And then Demarius Randall, kind of getting his confidence back, has been pretty solid the last few weeks. Did a really good job on Josh Gordon. I know Josh Gordon went after him on Twitter, but really, they moved Randall on and frankly shadowed Gordon for most of the game at that point, and Randall did a pretty good job after Gordon did have a good first drive when they didn't have Randall on him. Randall, a guy coming off his rookie year, really showed some potential, but has had injury and confidence issues since. So we'll see if that continues or if he regresses yet again. And then out of that same Browns game, a little movement here on the D-line. Larry Ogunjobi, rookie out of Charlotte, mid-round pick, has become one of the better D linemen here. I think Jamie Meter might have been out, but Ogunjobi playing about half the snaps. They're playing good run D up front. Another defensive lineman moving up this week, Margus Hunt, been kind of a veteran, but I believe he came over from Germany, just kind of a physical specimen, playing really good defense for this Colts D line that frankly has been incredibly underrated all year. Another guy moving up here is Jonathan Hankins, who's been a very good signing for this Colts team, an under the radar signing. And he's a 78 right now. He goes up +4 this week, which is a pretty big boost. I have a feeling if you moved him over to nose tackle, however, he'd probably be in the mid-80s. I think that's justifiable too. I mean, he's playing really good run defense. The only thing is they have Al Woods there playing nose tackle, who's been pretty good this year as well. And then TJ Green has been starting here, probably just kind of going to the youth here for the Colts as their season is over. But TJ Green is a physical freak, I believe a second-round pick 2 years ago, a guy they would like to see turn into a starting safety here next to Malik Hooker perhaps. So we'll see how he continues to grow, but he's starting and hasn't been a liability for that defense necessarily. Moving up +1 this week. And then finally, a little more love for Case Keenum. A lot of people asking about him. I did think he had one of his better games so far this year. He's been pretty consistent. Obviously, that throw power and just his overall body of work, you're going to be a little worried about him when the playoffs roll around. I still think eventually this is going to catch up with the Vikings. But for now, Case Keenum playing great. He goes up +2 this week, so he's now tied with Teddy Bridgewater. And again, we'll see how it all plays out. I'd be pretty surprised if he was the Vikings starter heading into next year, but crazier things have happened, I suppose. For the Panthers, Darrell Williams gets a boost yet again. This dude has been maybe the biggest surprise of the year, like bigger than Jared Goff. I don't think too many people were expecting much from Darrell Williams, but he is the highest rated offensive tackle in PFF. The dude's been killing it. I wonder if he's going to get a Pro Bowl bid because he is an unknown commodity. He's definitely earned it though this year, and that Panthers team has him to thank for a lot of their success offensively. And then also for that offense, we got Devin Funchess, definitely starting to emerge as the number one there. I'm not totally sold yet. Just because he is the number one target there doesn't mean he's necessarily a good player, but he has shown signs. Kind of a flex tight end guy in college, maybe still learning to diversify his route tree a little bit. The potential, though, definitely there for Devin Funchess. So he goes up +1 this week. Definitely got to touch on Garoppolo real quick. All I'm going to say, I watched through that game. I am already convinced that Garoppolo is the most talented quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has had. I think he's got a much better arm than Matt Ryan and is more mobile. There is a ton of Tom Brady in Jimmy Garoppolo's game. Just watching him, it almost felt like you were watching Tom Brady play for the 49ers. Super excited to see Garoppolo grow. They got to get him some more weapons, some more help there. Very optimistic about Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm going to keep him as a 77 because he's got some things to learn. He clearly has some times where he needs to, hone things in, just kind of some growing pains as a starter, as you would expect. But I really think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a household NFL name in a few years, just like Matt Ryan and even Tom Brady. And we got Keelan Cole, a receiver we had to create a few weeks ago, undrafted free agent, making plays for the Jags against that Seahawks secondary that was pretty beat up. But anyway, Keelan Cole going up +2 this week. And then Keenan Allen, I lowered him a few weeks ago just before he broke out, and I said it then that it really pained me to do that because I was super high on Keenan Allen coming into the year. Looking back at my top 10 prediction tweets, I actually said Keenan Allen would finish as the third fantasy receiver behind Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, and he's third or second right now, and he's killing it. Really, anyone that was steadfast about this Chargers team is getting dividends right now because this Chargers team, in my opinion, is actually the best, hottest team in the entire AFC, maybe in the NFL. I am super excited to see this team hopefully beat the Chiefs tomorrow. We'll see. It'll be a great game. But if this team meets the Patriots and the Steelers in the playoffs, I don't see any reason they couldn't beat them. And I keep saying that on this channel, and I'm very excited for that. They also got guys rising on the defense. Trevor Williams, yet again, I feel like he's gone up like 5 or 6 weeks in a row. He goes up one more this week, had another really good game against the Redskins. What this team has been able to do with these corners is pretty remarkable. Some low pedigree guys turning into star corners. Casey Hayward did, by the way, go up +3 if you followed the comments. Just a little oversight from last week. I raised him after the video was released. And then the last guy here for the Chargers, Denzel Perriman, +1. I think he's just kind of starting to get healthy, making an impact in the run game there at middle linebacker. For the Cowboys, Rod Smith gets a much-needed boost. He moves up 7 this week. He was a 66 overall. Really kind of solid running back. I don't think the upside is there in any regard, but a good blocker, receiver out of the backfield, can run between the tackles. Just kind of a solid guy to have there. DeMarcus Lawrence goes up +2. This dude's been a monster this year. Definitely a candidate for most improved player of the year. And then Cowboys fans will definitely be happy to know I have finally raised these corners. Was kind of waiting for a statement game of sorts. Chidobe Awuzie has started 2 games now, coming off an injury, and has looked fantastic. For those that followed me back in the draft process, I loved Awuzie. I thought he was maybe the 3rd best corner in this class. So he's emerging, and Jordan Lewis has had a very good year, but definitely had a good week last week against the Giants. So it really is these two for the future here for the secondary. Scandrick and Brown, I'll just spoil this right now. They go down -1 for Brown and -2 for Scandrick, as they have not been an impact on this defense. And staying in the secondary, Nickel Roby Coleman gets a boost here because he gets an opportunity this week with an injury to Tremaine Johnson to step outside and play some real cornerback, and he did the trick. And you know, he was lower because of that 5'8" ceiling, so he goes up +3. And I mean, I'm sure he'll end up back in the nickel. That is what he does best. But it is good to know that he can at least go out and cover some guys outside and at least stay with them, even if over a consistent period of time that might not be ideal. Alex Collins goes up 1 for the Ravens. Not much of a surprise there. We do create, Ravens fans will be happy to know, Matt Skura. Right guard's been starting for the better half of about 2 months now. Hasn't been anything particularly special, but just a guy that needed to be created, as he has been starting for a while. By the way, if there are players that you think I need to create and look into, do comment below. It is hard to catch everyone that's not in this game. And then we just got some fallers here, and we'll be done. Gabe Jackson, really this whole Raiders offensive line here going down this week, haven't been touched much this year, but it is apparent that this is not the group they were last year, so those ratings were pretty high coming into the year. Gabe Jackson, I thought was actually kind of a bad contract they gave him. The dude's not a mauler. He's a very good pass blocker, but the contract they gave him, I don't think he's a well-rounded enough guard to do that. It's a team that already has cap issues. They haven't paid Khalil Mack yet, but maybe a team that was a little scared to do anything risky after they broke out last year. And then Donald Penn, -4, he was just a little high. He's still solid, but the pass blocking grades have not been quite as good this year from Donald Penn. Kaleki Osemele, -3. And then on to the Chiefs. A lot of fallers coming out of that game there last week. We got Eric Murray, who has lost his starting job as the free safety there, and it's been Steven Terrell, who was converted from corner. I believe he used to play for the Seahawks. He's the starter here now, so he moves from corner to free safety. And his rating doesn't really change. I mean, it goes up by moving him there, but his rating doesn't necessarily change. And then Ron Parker goes down as well, -2. Was a big faller last week, had another poor game. And then the Jets, we've got Mohammed Wilkerson, who is, as of a report today, going to be a healthy scratch this week. The dude pretty much seems to have an issue playing for a team that's not competing. Ever since the Jets have been bad, this dude has been really a headache for this entire locker room. So his awareness and play recognition are going to drop pretty far as his other traits. I mean, I think he's still a hell of a player when he wants to be, but definitely concerning that he isn't always going to give it 100%. So that does it for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do like the video if you enjoyed. As always, everyone, cheers. We'll see you next time.